I mean, YouTube University, man, all the way.
Yeah.
Awesome people like Jason Guyman was
Yeah.
was huge and pivotal to me really being able to break into what I'm doing now. And I even I bought his course. He sent me a link to like a month for free, and that was just so useful.
Hmm.
I mean, just everything that I needed to know was right there. Um, I mean, just simple stuff like setting up your Google My Business, that's free. Your Facebook page, that's free. Your Yelp page, that's free. All these free avenues to build your online presence, and I didn't even think about stuff like
Hmm.
that. So YouTube University, there's a lot of different guys on there that talk about it. That's just one of them I can think of off the top
Hmm.
of my head. That's just an awesome person.
So,
All
what's
right.
going on, everybody? My name is Karthik Ramaswamy. I'm the Chief Operations Officer of UZ Marketing. Today, on this business podcast, I want to introduce a special guest. His name is Logan, and he's from Washington State. And I actually love that you're joining us on this podcast, Logan, because I've seen you on interacting with all our social medias. You won one of our giveaways, and you're just really active. And we had that live one time. You asked a lot of good questions, and it's an awesome to have you on this podcast. So, introduce yourself to the audience, Logan.
Yeah, thank you for that great introduction. I appreciate it. Yeah, so my name is Logan Durant. I am the owner operator of Wolverine Exterior Services, a company based out of Gig Harbor, Washington, and we service all different kinds of homes. A little bit of commercial, a little bit of residential. It's a great time.
Awesome. So, what actually made you start doing this type of business?
Well, when I was about 18 years old, I was scrolling through Reddit one day and I came across some satisfying pressure washing posts. And I was looking at it, that looks like a really fun job to do. And I started looking around. I started doing some YouTube research, and I found a whole community of people online who talk about their businesses and do educational content, and just stuff like that. It really made me want to jump into that kind of line of work.
Awesome. Actually, I've seen a lot of those satisfying videos myself, lawn care, pressure washing, and all that stuff. And it's interesting
Mhm.
that actually kickstarted your desire to do that. So, is it as fun as you expected it to be?
Yeah, it certainly is. I actually really enjoy the actual working aspect of it. And I didn't really quite comprehend being 18 years old and naive that it's a lot more than just going out and washing the houses. I didn't quite get that part from the very start,
Mm,
but it's fun. I still like doing it. I'm sure I'll still enjoy it years from now.
awesome. So, I believe you're 2021, right?
Yep, I'm 20 years old.
And you started at 18?
Yep.
Awesome. So, how has the journey been being as young as yourself, working in the business, getting customers who are probably decades older than you?
Yeah, no, that's certainly a good point. So when I first started out, I being 18 years old, I had a low startup. I was doing DoorDash, so
Hmm.
I was door dashing to basically get my startup money for my pressure washer. And I just started out with a 4 gallon per minute Home Depot DeWalt pressure washer, and went from there. My dad let me use his pickup truck, so I would just throw my stuff in the back of his pickup truck and go drive to my job sites. And in the beginning, I really was quite unfamiliar with marketing. I assumed owning a business was, people magically know that I exist and they're just gonna, know who I am and know to call me and trust me all of a sudden. And that wasn't really the case. And marketing was a huge struggle in the beginning for me because I didn't know anything about Facebook ads, Google ads, door hangers, yard signs, anything like that. And I wasted a whole bunch of money on Facebook ads, knowing nothing about it, and it was slow in the beginning. That's probably to be expected.
Hmm.
I did a lot of free work too to get my name out there. And to your point too about my clientele base being a lot older, that has been a little bit of a struggle in the beginning. Was earning their trust as a consumer looking at somebody who's 18 years old, like you said, decades younger than them. I mean, that's kind of a difficult barrier to break. For them to be able to look at me and trust me with their largest investment, their
Hmm.
home, and have them be comfortable with me, pressure washing it and knowing that I'm not going to do any damage or mess something up.
Yeah, that's true. So you said you started doing DoorDash to get the funds to start on the 4 gallon per minute pressure washer. What was your
Mm-hmm.
initial investment?
So my initial investment was right around $2,000.
Okay.
So I bought the washer, and then I bought a 16-inch surface cleaner.
Hmm.
And those two were really all I needed because in the beginning I didn't do much of any sort of soft washing,
Mhm.
downstreaming, anything like that. So it was only pressure washing. I really honestly wasn't too familiar with soft washing or any other additional services that might be offered. Yeah, no, it was a pretty reasonable amount to start out with. I wish that I would have maybe gone with a little bit lower dollar amount for a unit or shopped around for used to spend more on marketing because, like I said, I had no idea that marketing was such a pivotal aspect of a business, and I really spent way too much on the marketing aspect or the equipment aspect.
So would that be some advice that you would give to somebody starting a new pressure washing business?
Yes, absolutely. I think marketing is huge for anybody starting up. I mean, I'd say I wish I would have saved like 30% of my initial startup just for marketing
Mhm.
because I had a machine. I was able to get jobs done fairly quickly at 4 gallons per minute, but I'd go and I'd do one job every couple of days. So what good did that really do me over
Mhm.
getting a $200 unit, spending the rest on marketing, and then upgrading later on. It's that was a big mistake in the beginning that I think I see a lot of people make, and I've made it as well. So I completely understand
Hmm.
why they think like that.
So 30% of $2,000 is $600. So
Mhm.
it's like allocating that towards marketing would have gotten you a pretty good head start, and that would be some good
Absolutely,
advice to go for the
absolutely.
next person that picks up on it. That's awesome because
Mhm.
I know it is a common conception, and you're not the only one that thought customers magically appear. It's like this. It's almost like the American dream in the sense that like people come to the United States to start business, have a good career, and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But like it's almost you see all the good stuff, social media, on the news, and all that stuff. You see Jeff Bezos, and people think, man, owning a business is the way to go. So this whole
Yep.
society is like, let's start a business. But then all these business related stuff comes into play, like the marketing and the
Mhm.
management and all that stuff. So it's very interesting. I'm glad you're able to enlighten the audience, and I'm
Mhm.
glad you got that insight yourself as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, when it comes to breaking even on your investment, so let's say your $2,000 investment, how long did it take you before you broke even?
In the beginning, it definitely took me a while. I didn't know what to charge. I was looking around. I was talking to a lot of people from like Louisiana and kind of those southern states there, and they tend to charge quite a bit less because of competition.
Yeah.
Um, I was kind of basing off of their pricing model, so I was
Hmm.
significantly cheaper than many people around. I'm trying to I can't remember the exact figure of what I was
Sure.
charging, but I mean it would be like I was the $99 guy as people refer to them as. So I mean it probably took me a good couple months,
Hmm.
to break even on it. But it was worth the struggle and it was worth the knowledge through experience. Because I can read online all I want about how to do this and how to do that, but the real true experience is of messing up and doing things wrong.
Hmm.
That's what real improvement. That's what happens to get to real improvement.
Absolutely. Those mistakes, in our business anyway, and I believe it should be the case with almost any business, is mistakes are only mistakes if we don't learn from them. If we
Mhm.
learn from them, they are very expensive lessons. And if they become very expensive lessons, then if it's like a school, like we went to a class and we learned that and we'll never make that mistake again in the future.
Yep.
So, yeah, absolutely fundamentally, what you said breaks down business to a T. So important to ensure
Mhm.
we learn from that. But did you watch like YouTube or anything to learn?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, YouTube University, man, all the way.
Yeah.
Awesome people like Jason Guyman was
Yeah.
was huge and pivotal to me really being able to break into what I'm doing now.
Mhm.
And I even I bought his course. He sent me a link to like a month for free, and that was just so useful.
Hmm.
I mean, just everything that I needed to know was right there. Um, I mean, just simple stuff like setting up your Google My Business, that's free. Your Facebook page, that's free. Your Yelp page, that's free. All these free avenues to build your online presence, and I didn't even think about stuff like
Hmm.
that. So YouTube University, there's a lot of different guys on there that talk about it. That's just one of them I can think of off the top
Hmm.
of my head. That's just an awesome person.
I have mad respect for Jason, man. Like he's actually been on one of our very first few episodes of this podcast, and he has so much insight. I think more than actual pressure washing himself, he praises marketing. Like he says, more more energy and resources should be allocated towards marketing to truly grow your business. Because I believe he grew
Mhm.
a six-figure pressure washing business and sold it, and now he's doing the teaching aspect of it, so he can
Yep.
help other people reach to the level that he's able to reach. So I have mad respect for the guy.
Mhm.
He's awesome. I learned a
Yeah.
lot of stuff from him, even though I'm in a completely different industry. So
Mhm.
yeah, YouTube University, man. That's what this channel's all about. To contribute back to as much as things that I learned. I wish there was like a screen printing yard sign course that I could take, so we could learn how
Mhm.
to improve our business. But something like that doesn't exist. I think pressure washing is
Yeah.
one of the few industries I've seen that's so filled with people who are just so ready to help. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
So.
it's
Mhm.
great community surrounding the industry, and there's a lot of different Facebook groups and stuff that talk about pressure washing and answer questions. I mean, some of it's just troll posts and joking around, but there is a lot of useful information,
Yeah.
in between the cracks. And there, you kind of have to dig for it sometimes, but everybody's cool and everybody's helpful.
Yeah. On that note, the $99 guy, everybody likes to troll on him, but what is your take on that?
The $99 guy, I think it really depends on your market.
Hmm.
Like let's say we go somewhere, toward Florida, right?
Okay.
It's super oversaturated down there. There's a million and one pressure washing companies, so the pricing is super competitive. So to charge those lower dollar amounts, absolutely. If your overhead is low enough to where you can remain profitable at that margin, fantastic.
Hmm.
But then on the flip side of that, charging what you think is fair for your service and what's going to cover your overhead, I'd kind of fall more along those lines of,
Hmm.
you know, if I can keep myself busy at the prices I'm charging, I'm gonna keep them that way. If I get too busy, I'm gonna up them a little bit, and kind of go off that. Because like I said, I started off as a $99 guy, even with my dad's truck, my dad's fuel. I had my own pressure washing gas, but my overhead being relatively low, even then, $99 was like, okay, even as an 18-year-old, how do I live off of
Yeah.
this? Making such little money. But hey, some people who can do 10 houses a day at $99, I mean, almost $1,000 right there. Just
Hmm.
10 houses a day.
Yeah. Yeah. From what I've gathered from, I kind of dug deep into it because I know that this archetype of the $99 guy gets a lot of hate, but then there's also a lot of proponents to it too. There's a lot of people who say that this type of mindset can be very successful. And
Hmm.
what I've learned, I think what I've learned, I could be completely wrong here, is that they've mastered the art of upselling. Because you're right, $99 for a house, you can't live off that. It barely covers the overhead, the time that you spend. Like, why
Hmm.
do all that for just $99? From what I'm gathering, is these guys, they start at $99. They say, hey, we'll do your driveway for $99 and then upsell them on the soft wash or something
Hmm.
like that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
gathering from it. Because even if you do have ten houses a day, that's, let's say it takes an hour, that's 10 hours of your day is gone,
Yeah.
and you could be capitalizing way more. So I think your pricing structure that you have specifically makes a lot of
Hmm.
sense, because
Yeah.
it covers for you as a business your overhead, the amount of
Hmm.
investment and time that you took to grow your business.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's just. I mean, like I said, if you can fairly charge what you're charging, and you're with what's standard around you, I mean, I'd say charge that. Because there was a statistic that I saw Jason Guyman put out a while ago where, to make, of course, I'm not going to remember exact numbers, but essentially it was like, you'd have to do X number of houses to reach at, X dollar amount to reach 100,000 per year. Or if you're charging, $1,000 a house, you only have to do 100 houses. It was a statistic like that. And that's also very true to me too. I mean, that's huge. If I can go and I can get these, big jobs and do, multiple a week, that's better to me than, doing small little jobs here and there. But it's hard to find that niche target audience too
Mhm.
that's willing to pay that dollar amount for keeping their home clean and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Because some people don't care. I mean, you drive through some parts of certain cities, and they don't care. They don't care if their house looks clean or not. But then you
Mhm.
drive through suburbia, and there's not a speck of mold in sight.
Mhm.
Their houses are all spotless.
Mhm.
It's a market thing, and it's you know charge what's fair, charge what you think's fair.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That's some good insight. What do you think that sets you apart from your competition in your area?
Really, I think my I try to be really big on branding. I have wrapped vehicle. I'm very professional with my Wolverine shirts here. And my professionalism and my customer service, I go above and beyond what I can. I'm always answering the phone answering any questions I can. And then just going the extra mile on the job site too is huge. Yeah, you'd be surprised after how many jobs that I've done that I have clients come up to me and tell me, oh my gosh, like, we had this guy come and you just did so much better than him and blah blah blah. And they're just because I went the extra mile.
Mm-hmm.
I walked around at the end of my job and I made sure that the surface is clean, right? Or just little stuff like that. Wind up the garden hose after I pulled it out. Or just leave it cleaner than you left it or cleaner than you found it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the customers are going to see that, and that's what's going to really set you apart from some guy who does shoddy work and doesn't even have business cards, just
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. It's the little things I think that really ultimately set you apart.
Absolutely, man. Building that name for yourself and that credibility, it goes so far into like just pulling up to a customer's house, especially you're already younger than most of the other competitors. So
Hmm.
coming up in branded uniform, business cards, wrapped vehicle already sets you apart because you're taking your business and you're like portraying that you have credibility and you've been around for a while. Like that's the
Hmm.
signs of a successful business is having
Yeah.
that name and recognizability. Like, every time I see a wrapped vehicle, I think, man, they spent some money on that and like
Hmm.
they take their brand seriously.
Yep, absolutely.
So when it comes to like different things in your area, what do you think is significant to your area? You mentioned something about like some houses, some neighborhoods don't have people that care that much, but some houses do. Like, what is the distinguishing factor? Like, how do you determine if one of the viewers were to try to figure that out? How would they figure that out?
I mean, realistically, it's for me. There's just certain areas around here that people are wealthier. There's certain older communities, HOA communities, and those people are the ones that have the money, and
Hmm.
those are the ones who are willing to spend the money on getting something to make their house look nice. And something that I've discovered, even fairly recently, is my ideal client is not the house that I drive by and
Mm.
it's covered in algae and it just looks disgusting and the roof's covered in moss. My ideal client is somebody who has a very well kept house and somebody who obviously cares very much about the way their house
Mm.
looks, because that's somebody who will be willing to pay the money for a professional to come out there and make it look right. And it's because I see so many houses that are just overgrown, underkept. They don't care. So obviously, when I come up there and I say, hey, I'll clean your driveway, it's gonna be $200. They're like, oh, I don't care.
Hmm.
$200 worth of my driveway's clean.
Hmm.
But somebody in their mansion is gonna be like, absolutely, please, that's a wonderful price. Please clean my driveway.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, of course.
No, 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 that makes sense. I see the logic in that. It's
Mhm.
almost like transparent. Might as well consider it like gospel because you look at somebody's dirty house, they're not caring about it in the first place. Why would they spend more money to
Mhm.
care about it even less? So,
Absolutely.
when it comes to getting customers, what is your strategy?
So right now, I've been doing Facebook ads just in the last couple of weeks, and those have been just killing it for me.
Mm, cool.
I have a really good local guy that is just fantastic with advertisements. His name's Shaho Ali. He's a I look him at met him at a local BNI group.
Hmm.
He's so cool. I can text him whenever he makes changes. We write the ad copies together, and he gives me advice on my ad creatives. He's awesome, and that's really what's kind of taken off recently. But before that was yard signs. Yard signs are just they're money bushes, right? they're
Hmm.
you put them out everywhere. You get 200 of them for or 100 of them for like $200 for the bigger ones. I mean, you get them in the right spots first of all, but those are really huge to getting clients in. So you can just have yard signs everywhere. That's really what's gonna be good to start off with in the beginning. But I wouldn't make the switch to Facebook ads really much sooner than I did, because it takes a lot of money to get started to let Facebook learn what your target audience is.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big upfront number. I've heard people say anywhere from like 250 to $1,000 to really
Yep.
get that dialed in.
Hmm.
Um, and, it does take a while and takes a lot of money, but so far it's been awesome.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. But we've done Facebook ads too. It does have a learning phase. That learning phase is like kind of trial and error. There's a lot of people that don't even relate to what your ad is trying to show,
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
they're engaging on it, costing you more money. But
Hmm.
but once it does kick in, and if you have the right strategy, and it sounds like you got the good guy to do it, that's when
Hmm.
like the way that it's designed is designed to get customers. Otherwise, Facebook wouldn't stay in business. That's how they need to
Mhm.
continue their operations. So it's in their best interest to make sure that
Yeah.
their ad platform works. So I know Facebook ads work. You know Facebook ad work. But there are some
Mhm.
people, like you mentioned before, you started Facebook ads at the very beginning. What sets it apart from when you did it then to what you're doing now?
It's the ad spend. I mean, people. I see people on these groups all the time. They say, "Oh, I just spent $20 on my Facebook ads and nobody's messaged me," or "I spent $100 on my Facebook ads and nobody's messaged me." Your target audience. You have no time to learn what your target audience
Hmm.
is, and especially with your demographic. Yeah, somebody from Florida might be able to tell you what their demographic is for getting pressure washing leads, but your demographic in Washington State might be completely different.
Right.
So I think it's huge to be able to let that learn and let it choose basically for you, because I think a lot of people don't realize that it costs quite a bit of money to get initial clients in
Hmm.
through Facebook ads.
So maybe somebody in their first year, would you say like a $400 budget after they got the other forms of marketing and revenue coming in? Would you say $400 is a good starting point? Something like that?
Yeah, I mean, to jump off of to start Facebook ads, yeah,
Okay.
that's big. I mean, right now my ad spend budget's at about like $30 a day, I want to say.
Hmm.
So it's nothing like $100 a day, or nothing crazy like that. But
Oh, that's a thousand
it's
dollars a
enough.
month.
Yeah, it's enough to where I'm getting clients. I'm getting enough clients in,
Hmm.
and I'm remaining profitable, and I'm not getting too many. Right, I'm getting just the right amount to where I can still handle the workflow.
Hmm.
But it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's good. So do you get a lot of calls from it? Or how did the sales come in?
It's through Messenger.
Okay.
The reason I like Messenger is because I can do my best to quote remotely.
Hmm.
I can ask them for photos of the house, and it gives me if I'm up on a roof, I don't necessarily want to be talking to somebody on the phone,
Hmm.
because I'm still a one man show, so I
Yep.
I do all the phone calls, message answering, stuff like that. So I really don't want to be up on the roof answering calls, and I that's why I like Messenger. Um, because I can go back when I get off my job, or go take a lunch break or something. I can go scroll through all the messages and respond to people,
Hmm.
and I like doing it that way. It's the way I like doing it. Some people like doing in person estimates, but it's kind of a preference thing.
Yeah. What makes you prefer remote quotations?
Um, I feel like it lets me service people a little farther away. The reason I say that is because if I have a client who requests an estimate and they're 5 minutes down the road, sure, absolutely, I'll stop by on my way home from my last job.
Hmm.
But if they're 45 minutes away and my job's the complete opposite direction, I don't want to spend that gas pulling my trailer behind me to go out and go
Yeah.
do this estimate, because I want to get them their estimates as fast as possible, because if they're looking for a lot of different estimates, I mean, whoever gives them what they think is a good price first, I mean, that's probably what they're going to go with. They're not going to wait on me for 2 weeks to come out and give them an estimate.
Absolutely.
So being able to get there quickly, give them a price quickly, I think that's pivotal to really getting that job quickly. A lot of people use auto bidders and stuff. I just prefer looking at pictures and doing it that way,
Hmm.
just because different things go into my pricing factors. But it's a little more difficult to close over Messenger. I feel like a lot of people tend to be more flaky that way,
Yeah. Yeah.
because when somebody calls my phone and they want to quote, they're serious about it. I know who they are, and they're listening to me. But when it's a Facebook ad, they can just stop responding to me, and it's no big deal. So
So
it's kind of hit or miss, really.
yeah,
But
like a pros and cons deal right there.
yep,
Like there's
yep,
pros to both,
absolutely.
but
Yeah,
I mean, mhm.
but both sources are important, right? Facebook ads super important, but those organic leads and leads off yard signs, door hangers, that stuff's still important too.
Mhm.
Because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
All right.
I think that's super important too, to have multiple streams of people coming in. Because let's say all of a sudden everybody decides, what, I don't feel like using Facebook for the next couple of weeks, or they just stop converting, which can happen from time to time.
Mhm.
Things just kind of the pool dries out and people aren't really interested, and it's good to have other sources to keep yourself busy. That's because if you have only Facebook ads and all of a sudden they're gone, I mean, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need money coming in the door somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. So would you consider your business a seasonal business?
Yes and no. Washington weather is kind of funky. We had rain up until probably 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hit or miss. And then as we get into the colder season, which usually starts around yeah November time, December time, somewhere right around there. If it's not frozen, I mean, absolutely, you can still pressure wash, you can still do your thing. But as things start to freeze, that's kind of what it when it gets into the area of okay,
Mm.
I don't want to be getting up on a roof when
Oh
it's
yeah.
frozen, or I can't even get my rig into this place because there's snow or ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so around that time, I mean, it's somewhat seasonal, but this year I'm going to be doing Christmas lights.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna kind of help with the seasonality of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then right around the little bit before spring, that's when gutter cleaning starts picking up again.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just kind of start doing some of those, and that's really great. There's always well, when you offer multiple services,
Mm-hmm.
I, if you can go to the house and do it, there's gonna be some interest.
Hmm.
It definitely slows down though.
Yeah, I figured as much. Like, especially in your area, I used to live in Seattle, so I kind of know the weather conditions and the
Hmm.
like the way it changes. You have all four seasons there. Good.
Yep.
Unlike Houston, we have two seasons. So the thing with that is, I've always wondered, like, if you're not able to pressure wash during the winter, what do you do? So is it common for other guys? I guess other pressure washing industry people in other areas as well. Is it common for them to also do gutter cleaning as well as the Christmas lights?
Yeah, most companies that I see around here do. Certainly the bigger ones do. Just upon my competition research,
Mm-hmm.
but they do Christmas lights. I've seen some of them will do like more indoor stuff. I've seen like they'll do interior and exterior windows and stuff like that. And I think that's all that I've really seen. But a few of them actually do snow removal as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's more of big commercial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know one guy in Canada who does residential snow removal, but their snow is crazy. So
Yeah, Canada's a different beast.
yeah, yeah. Plus here, I mean, living in Seattle, it's is it going to snow this year? I mean, hey, we don't know. You can't you
Hmm.
can't bank on snow removal as a.
Yeah, didn't snow all the time.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
speaking of that, that'll be towards the close of our conversation. So you mentioned residential and commercial.
Hmm.
What do you prefer and why?
I prefer residential at this point. Commercial, it's quite a bit more competitive,
Hmm.
and the pricing's a little bit lower.
Hmm.
And then it's cool when it's consistent work and it's like consistent contracts. But that's really the pro of commercial is being able to have that consistent work. Like, hey, I know that no matter what happens, you know, these Subway locations are going to need to be cleaned, or
Hmm.
these Dairy Queen locations are going to need to be cleaned. But with residential, you never know really if there's going to be a recession or when the work's going to stop. That's kind of what's encouraged me to start pushing more into residential than I am. Is just kind of the trying to recession proof my business.
Hmm.
Just if anything crazy happens, that I'll be able to have consistent work still and still be able to keep the lights on and pay my overhead at least
Right.
just to stay afloat.
Good point. That's an interesting point. I know some businesses they like to focus on commercial. They have it's another pros and cons situation. So there's
Hmm.
definitely pros and cons to each. I've seen some YouTube videos where some people prefer commercial because of their high dollar amount. Like they're usually high dollar amount, not necessarily like
Yeah.
profitability, but the dollar amount itself is pretty big. But
Hmm.
a lot of bigger businesses are net 30, net 60 sometimes, and some of them, like, they have so many different employees handling different things that trying to get paid is a nightmare in and of itself. So there's some cons
Hmm.
with the pros as well. There's
Yep.
definitely like a based on, like you mentioned earlier, your preference, whatever your preference is as a business. It sounds like each business has their preference, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and eventually I want to move and I want to have a rig for commercial and I want to have a rig
Hmm.
for residential. I want to be able to split between the two. But for right now, it's just me. So I
Hmm.
got me and my trailer. And that's how I do jobs.
Awesome. So you said it's just you. Do you know what needs to happen before you start expanding beyond just you?
Yeah, I really want to keep my lead flow more consistent. I have
Okay.
I have my up months and my down months.
Hmm.
sometimes I'm slow, sometimes I'm busy. Like, so I want to be able to hire somebody on
Hmm.
and know for sure that hey, you're going to get 40 hours this week
Yeah,
because
yeah.
somebody working for me, it's like anybody working for anybody else. That's how you make your living, and I
Hmm.
want to make sure that whoever I'm hiring is going to be able to make a living and going to have consistent work. So I don't want to be like, hey, sorry, we don't have any leads this week, so just I can't pay you this week. I
Makes sense.
because I can handle the lead flow right now,
Hmm.
um, but I want to make it consistent. I want to make it as consistent as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have a bright head on your shoulders, man. You have the branding concept, you have the marketing, you understand. You such a young age, you've learned a lot of insights from the industry, and you're taking it all and implementing it in your business. So I highly commend you for what you're doing. I have a lot of respect for you as well because I've
Yeah,
seen some of
thank you. I
what
appreciate
you're
it.
doing. Do you have any last minute tips for the audience before we go?
I'm just going to remind everybody that when you're starting, having a $30,000 rig is not as important as having a good marketing plan and having a budget set aside for marketing, because that rig is going to sit in your driveway and you're going to have no jobs to do it with. So it's very important that you get those customers in the door before you start talking about spending crazy dollar amounts on equipment.
There you have it, guys. Wolverine Exterior Services. We got Logan Durant. Appreciate you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing all your valuable insight to the industry. You were awesome for being on here. Um,
Absolutely.
for everybody interested in Logan's business, I'll keep all his information down in the description. You guys can check him out. Check him out on social media and all that stuff. And with all that said, thanks again, Logan. See ya.
Thank you.
Take care.